Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24. I'm Alan.
I'm John.
I'm Brian.
And welcome to another episode of We'll Play Again, where we take a look at games we've recently got to the table, with a view of how quickly you can get them back to the table. With ever-growing collections, time can be precious, so we answer the question of, will we play again? Today we have Gonza Index from Cogito Ergo Meeple. Gonza Index is set in the Solo 175 universe, and we are once again competing corporations, but this time we're competing on the stock market, the Gonza Index. We will be taking turns rolling these dice, and we can set dice and roll them up to 3 times to get the actions that we want. The only one that we can't re-roll is if we get an E on this black dice. These actions will enable us to then either gain a credit, which we'll take from our supply, place a credit on a corporation, increase the value of one stock, decrease the value of another stock, or place a auction token on one of these broker cards. These broker cards will give us benefits throughout the game, or alternatively they may change endgame scoring or things that happen at the end. If, however, we rolled an E, we will place one of these E's on the event tracker, and should we place our third one, and what is key to note here is we can choose the order in which we resolve our dice. So somebody might want to resolve that early or late. We then flip the top event card and enact the changes that would happen with that. And typically they'll just be manipulating the stock market. So any corporation with this icon will have no change. This one will gain +1 on its value. This one will lose 2, and we'll have no change on this one. So it changes up the way that the game will play. We will also then resolve the broker cards. The person with the most tokens on a broker card gets that card. You can only have a maximum of 2 in your hand at a time, so choose those carefully. Any ties, players will just get their tokens back, and the card just goes in the discard pile. We then swipe that completely and put 4 new ones out for the next event and the next auction to happen. Play will continue round until the last event has happened. At that point, the person that triggered that event, it is their last turn of the game, and then the players to the left of that player will have a reduced dice pool, sort of depleting it down depending on the number of players, so that they actually get slightly less actions, but they still get another chance to enact with the board. At that point, we then value each person's stock that they've bought by timesing it by the number of the stock value. So, for instance, this one would be worth 3. We'd have anything that was placed in there would be worth 0, or essentially potentially minus figures. Add all of that up, trigger any endgame scoring cards, and the person with the most money, most credits at the end of that wins. I think it's safe to say that the theme comes through.
Yeah. For what it is, it's a load of cards, some tokens, and some beautiful chunky dice. I love some chunky dice. They're awesome. They're really good. It sings to what it is. It's a simple representation of a stock market, and it does exactly what it should with what you've got in front of you. I wonder if it was part of the main gameplay for Solo 175, but they decided to split it off, because I could see this sitting as part of that game as well, and in producing money.
Yeah, maybe. It's a lovely small box as well, so you can almost stick it in your pocket and take it.
Yeah, there's a lot in that little box, and I was going to say, like, the components are lovely. It's the same sort of components that you've got in Solo 175. If you haven't seen that, we've done a We'll Play Again for that, so check that out. Yeah. But yeah, you've got the nice screen printed credit tokens. You've got these metal credits, some really nice chunky dice, dual layer market boards. So yeah, I think all in it's got really nice. You've also got, again, the same artwork from Adam Beachy. So I think that's obviously links everything in there. You're still linked to that universe. You can see these corporations that will be competing in that stock market.
Corporation there, for example, is the one we get lobbyists from in the game in Solo 175. So you'll see the familiar.
And this one is where we get our pilots from the academy, where we employ our pilots, and you've got the Rio Astro Corp. So yeah, it's links already.
You don't need to have that to enjoy the game as it is either. It doesn't. It just adds to flavour, really, if you have both games.
Yeah, it just adds more to it, and I think links the two quite well. And I think Maddie and Joe have said this is designed as a filler to Solo 175 to keep you immersed in that, either to get you going to get into Solo 175, or you want a bit of a break, or you're just down winding down for the evening type thing. It's a slightly lighter game.
Yeah.
Than Solar One Survive. You've got to say that it's
sure.
for what it is. It plays in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending upon player count. So it does change that a little bit, but I think it keeps you immersed in that world. It's a lot of references in the artwork and such. So yeah, a nice compliment to what it is. And I think the thing is you can't have one without the other at this point, or at least you can't have Gonza Index without Solar 175. But you are right; you don't need to be immersed in that world to play this separately.
No, I mean it's a lovely little push your luck dice rolling. I mean it's got nearly the same mechanic as King of Tokyo, and you keep the dice rolls, put them to the side, and move on. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. It's tried and tested, and it works really well for this.
There's no bad outcome on the dice for you. It's just different elements of where your strategy is going to be. There's by necessity, I think there's a bit of cutthroatness in the game.
Oh yeah.
And you're basically looking at where they put a place of their markers, and then degrading their stock in favour of your own one over here, for example. And that's really what the game sort of sings at. And it can cause some interesting sort of point swings toward the end of the game, and a little bit ganging up occasionally if you're not careful.
You can kingmake in this quite easily, in the fact, but also there's an element of that stock's doing well. Everybody goes on that, and it pushes up.
Follow my lead.
Yeah.
The
one thing it doesn't do though is it's all about the bull market in pushing the prices up. There isn't any card or mechanic that benefits people from dropping and getting points for having the lowest stocks. But that said, it doesn't suffer because of it at all.
There's a few interesting cards. Each of these corporations is slightly different in that their maximum value is different from each other. This one's interesting
Starting values as well.
because if you get too low, all of a sudden you get 3 points. So it's worth. So there's a few little subtleties like that, which is quite nice. You've got to look at the cards in front of you. There's more cards in the box, so each of these comes out. It's a different set each time.
Yeah, and some of the broker cards actually add more cards to the stock market.
You get another company coming out.
Yeah.
And I think what I like to it's push your own strategy, or push your strategy rather than push your luck.
Yeah.
Because there are things you're going to want to do, so that's why you're trying to push. And the only negative I will say to the dice rolling is if you do not roll enough credits. For instance, if I rolled that right now, the only ones that I'm going to be able to enact are the adjusting the stocks.
Yeah.
So you need those credits to either be putting them up here or to be putting them on there. All the actions other than the events are optional. You don't have to do them, but it's a bit feel bad if that's your role and you've got no sort of thing, nothing to do really. But at the same time, you could be pushing your strategy. So you can be like, right, well, I'm going to spread myself thin, but what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be crushing everybody else's market. And that's my strategy.
You can't normally take your pieces off there, can you? No. I think maybe some of the cards might let you do that.
Yeah.
But there's a maximum you can have on there, which I think is 6, is it?
6 or
Depends
7
on the player count.
Right.
Yeah.
So once that's topped out, if you're not part of that party, then you might as well just crash it to as much as you can to make everybody else's game.
Yeah, which is again, that's the stock market element of it, and that's the king making element of it. You can quite easily do it. I mean, would I be as bothered if this lowered as Brian would be? No, probably wouldn't, because I'm not as invested. But equally, John would want to smash that market or empower himself. So you've kind of got that backwards and forwards in there.
So there's we found that we get through that broker deck within one game. So you start seeing the same cards coming out because you're swooping these cards out and starting again. So would have been nice if there's a couple more cards in there to make sure that you've got new set of cards.
Yes,
you've got full suite.
Yeah, there's the card in there that negates any action. So somebody says, "I'm going to crash that." You go, "No, you're not," and it's, you can.
That's right. So some of them you can play on demand, like you said, or they're end the game scoring. But you can only have 2 of them. So if you've got to decide which one you want to hang on to if you got a third one.
Yeah, and that's it. And then some of the fact that some of them are for end game scoring, it actually you kind of want to then hold on to it. That 5
Yeah.
credits at the end of the game can be a big swing. The game itself's not high scoring because people are trying to crash markets.
Yeah.
There's not been runaway leaders, winners with
No,
it.
and by the same token, there's not been runaway scores either.
No.
It's not like we've all and I suppose there is a strategy in that. Everybody just goes, right, I'm going to max out whatever I can. And there's almost like a pact to say we're not crashing markets, we're just going at it. But I think the nature of the game is you want to be crashing somebody's markets.
Yeah. But it's lovely. I mean, it's very fast. You know, it doesn't take long to decide what you're going to do. And then it's the next person player. You know, so half an hour. very
Fast
nice.
moving.
Yeah. I think the only negative on the dice roll is as soon as you roll that E, you're locked in. So we've had games where literally the first 3 rolls we've enacted an event. We're a quarter of the way through, and you can put more events in there, so you can have a slightly longer game. You can take events out, so you could change the way that is. But I think the fact that there's no way to mitigate having rolled the event.
Having rolled the event. No. No.
So you kind of you're at the mercy of if that rolls E, and I think I had one game where every time I rolled the black dice, it resulted in an event. Which fair enough, it's what it's supposed to do. It's on 2 sides of the dice, so it's designed to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That first roll, it comes out, it's just like, right, okay.
Events, dear boy, events. Harold Wilson said that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what the stock market theme is, you know, trying to sing to, isn't it? So, but no, it's a great little game, and in some ways, you know, it's better than 175 in some aspects because it just draws you in straight away. You know what you do within a couple of dice rolls.
Yeah, the simplicity of it makes it because there is nuance, and the nuance is where you're betting and moving these things up and down. Yeah. But it's just quick, simple, pure.
You can see what the other players are doing. You can see where all the excitement is going to be. You know, and you say, "Well, do I want to get in part of that, or do I want to upset their day?"
Yeah. I think we'll get to the tell all in a second, but we played this at the end of a long day of gaming, and we kind of was like, Solo 175 was the game when we got to the table that day, and that was the one that we were really pushing on. And then we was like, right, we'll get this out and see what it's all about. And it was a pleasant surprise. I think. I picked it up on the Kickstarter just as a nice to have, some extra that was part of the thing. Can't resist.
Yeah, so did I.
That. And actually, I'm really happy that it's there. It doesn't do anything that I've got in the collection.
So I played it as a 2-player game with my wife, and as a 3-player game. I'd like to see it as a 5-player game. So I think that would be quite chaotic in a good way.
Yeah, I think in a 5-player game you might want to stick a couple more events in.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just to get the length in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice and it's different. There are other stock market games out there. There are other heavier stock market games out there. There are other lighter stock market games out there. But I think this just feels that really nice niche that it links to Solo 175. So you've got the thematic ties. Mm-hmm. You've got nice quick gameplay. Yeah. You can't be over engineering what you're doing because once you've rolled the dice, you've rolled the dice. Yeah. So I think it gives it really nice that. And then there's the unpredictability of the market. So not only you got the unpredictability of when the events are triggering, you got the unpredictability of actually what they're triggering. Now there is a small icon on the back of the cards which will tell you what the card's going to affect.
But it could be a good way or a bad way.
Yeah. So in this one, it actually was a minus effect. On that. So it could be positive or negative. I'm just thinking, that showed you a negative on that one. But it's a nice little bit that you can kind of see where things are going to go, but you don't know. So with all that being said, then John, would you play again?
I'll play again soon. Definitely. It came out. I wouldn't object to this. It's a great filler, palate cleanser. Keeps you in mind of Solo 175 of the universe. Definitely great game.
I liked it. I'd play it again now. It's a great little game. As I say, it's just fun.
Yeah. And play again now for me. I think the fact that it's so quick, so easy, it's easy to teach. It fills that filler slot. You get it in at the beginning or the end of the game night. Yeah, absolutely for me.
Yeah.
All right, then, if you haven't done so already, please check out other videos on the channel. Check out the Solo 175 We'll Play Again, because that'll be up before this one. Give us a like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.